Give them, yeah.
Here we are. Merry after Christmas, because it officially ended. Happy New Year, our first meeting of 2020. It is 6 o'clock, Wednesday, January 15th.
15th.
The 15th. Here we go. Let's see, roll call, number 2, Shauna.
Thank you. Director Aguera.
Here.
Vice President Finn. Here. President Bender.
Here.
Director Ellis.
Here.
Director Laliotis.
Here.
Thank you.
All right. Pledge of Allegiance. You want the honors?
I can do that.
Yeah. You're the VP, so.
I can pledge.
All right, awesome.
Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, public input. Is there any public input tonight on any matter not on the agenda? All right, seeing none, we'll close public input. Go to director update.
I have nothing,
You have
thank you,
nothing?
President,
All right. Krista, you have something.
I do.
except for Happy New Year for everybody.
Yeah, that was in mine as well.
Okay.
So I'll cover Joe with the welcome back and Happy New Year. I hope everybody had a chance, now I'm rolling right along. Welcome back and Happy New Year, starting from the top. I hope that, and this is really to my directors, that you had a chance to read the white paper on biomass that Shauna sent out for me earlier in the year, or did you? Oh, she didn't send it. Well, I do have some hard copies, and she will send it.
Here they are.
So,
Biomass.
yes,
Hey,
biomass.
in the Sierra Nevada.
In the Sierra Nevada, very specific. Here.
Hey, I'm missing
Yeah.
one. Does Joe have one? or
Joe
no?
doesn't have one. and I
That's
think that
okay,
one
no,
should
go ahead, I'll
to
get
Joe,
one
'cause
later.
It will go to you, and I
it.
know that you are perfectly.
That's
happy
okay,
to
he can read on that.
Yeah, he's perfectly electronic. So anyhow, I read this, it came across my email desk right after our last PUD meeting, actually, and I found it pretty riveting. So I've been contemplating biomass as an energy source for our region for a few years now. It was a component of my platform when I ran. There it is, biomass, and it's on my little. And I mentioned it in my vision statement that I presented right before the holiday break, and then weirdly, that arrived in my inbox. And just a week or so later, I got to hear thoughts from it from the town staff and the Climate Action GPAC subcommittee members. And it was all pretty positive. And last fall, we asked Joe, our Joe, to keep turning over stones in search of renewable baseline energy project to help get us to 100% renewable goal by 2027. Thank you, President Bender, for that perfect little bite we had. But what if that project simply doesn't exist? Do we just wait? What's to stop us from creating the project that we need? If we were in a coastal community, I'd be thinking about tide and wave energy. If we were in the desert, obviously solar with a battery backup would lead the pack. If we were on the plains, I'd be looking to wind. But we live in the incredible Sierra Nevada, and our great renewable gift is the forest and the trees. Our trees give us shelter, they provide food and housing to our critter friends, they clean our water, they produce the very air that we breathe. They cool us down when we're hot, and they can heat us when we're cold. We owe it to the forests and to our children to be better stewards than we have been. We can help return our forests to health by thinning them. Not clear-cutting, but carefully conserving the old matriarchs that are breathing in our carbon, but by thinning the slash, the drought dead, the beetle dead, the smaller diameter clusters that wouldn't have survived had we not been actively suppressing the fires that are a natural part of our ecosystem. In a nutshell, biomass speaks very clearly to our mission to provide safe, reliable, environmentally responsible, renewable power to our customers. It may also make us more secure by being a local generation source that can protect us from upstream power disruptions, such as Nevada, if Nevada Energy decided to employ a public safety power shutoff. And it will reduce the odds of catastrophic wildfire decimating our town. In a phrase that I am stealing from Michael Hawley that was not applied to this, he applied it to something else, it could help future-proof our town. So like I said, that wasn't in, but I liked that concept of future-proofing as much as we can. So anyhow, if you guys could please read this over the next month or so, I would like the board to have a more full discussion, and of course have staff help us understand the pros and cons and economics, which is of course going to be the sticking point here, in perhaps a workshop of the style that we started having about this time last year. I'm sure that many obstacles exist, but I'm equally certain that there are ways, there are solutions, especially at this moment in time when we're all beginning to appreciate the severity and gravity of our situation. So thank you for your consideration, fellow board members.
Nice.
Good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Ellis.
I just want to wish everybody a happy New Year. I have no other comment.
Tony,
No comment. Welcome back.
welcome back. Your beard is a little fuller.
It's very full. Looking good.
Nice.
At least you didn't say grayer. So.
Right.
He did.
Right.
He was thinking.
That's why some of us don't grow them.
All right, so thank you very much, and we got some reading to do, and then a little electronic version at some point. I went wherever it. Awesome, thank you. Okay, consent calendar. We have 2 items on the consent calendar. Consideration of adopting Resolution 2020-01 to close out the admin building upstairs remodel project, and consideration of the 2019 Employee Safety Incentive Program. Is there any public input on any of these 2 items? Is there any director comments or questions to pull these 2? Okay.
Sean is satisfied with the project? Okay.
Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve that, let's see, it's adopt Resolution 2020-01, accepting the district administration upstairs building improvement project as complete and authorize the filing of a notice of completion.
And number 8. So just moved, are you moving to approve the entire consent?
I'm sorry, yes,
Yeah.
let's approve the consent calendar.
Hey, thanks, Joe.
I'll second.
Thank you.
I'll come to the party yet.
Okay, so roll call vote, please.
Thank you. Director Aguirre?
Yes.
Vice President Finn?
Yes.
President Bender?
Yes.
Director Ellis?
Yes.
Director Laliotis?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, 2 down. All right, number 9, consideration of the approval of the CEQA initial study and proposed negative declaration for the 2019 electric system master plan. Sana, welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, President Bender and members of the board. As President Bender mentioned, this is consideration of approval of the CEQA initial study and the proposed negative declaration associated with our 2019 electric system master plan. As way of some background and history, we did perform a master plan update in 2019. That work was performed by Electrical Consultants Incorporated, ECI, and that was awarded at the November 7th board meeting in 2018. And hopefully you all recall, we did a workshop on the results of that master plan at the November 20th meeting in 2019. And completing the master plan does require us to go through a CEQA initial study process. And by way of reminder, a CEQA is a California Environmental Quality Act. So after that workshop, staff completed the CEQA initial study and checklist. And because the master plan is only a planning level document, there are no negative environmental impacts associated with the master plan itself. And we're proposing to file a negative declaration after we go through all the appropriate steps. The CEQA initial study is complete and it's ready to be circulated to all the appropriate agencies. And as part of that circulation, we have to open up a 30-day public comment period, and during that, we will be requesting to have a public hearing scheduled to receive public comments. On this slide, you can see the anticipated timeline. Tonight, we're doing the consideration of the initial study and hopefully setting a public hearing date. Tomorrow, or very shortly thereafter, we will be filing the documentation with all the appropriate agencies. We're anticipating the public hearing to be on the February 5th board meeting for the CEQA initial study and negative declaration. And at the March 4th board meeting, we'll be bringing the final documentation before you to accept the final CEQA document, the negative declaration, and formally adopt the electric system master plan for 2019. And then after that is all complete, we get to file our notice of determination for the initial study, which is the official negative declaration. There is no fiscal impact associated with this item, and staff's recommendation is to approve the CEQA initial study and direct that it be circulated, and 2, to set a public hearing for the next board meeting at February 5th at 6 p.m. or shortly thereafter on the CEQA initial study and negative declaration for the 2019 electric system master plan. And at this time, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Great, thank you. Krista, any comments, questions?
I don't. I read it and it seems pretty simple.
Yeah.
It's a plan.
Shauna's on it.
Everything said no in the check boxes.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a plan. It's not a project.
Right. Joe,
Yep,
all good?
all good.
Bob and Tony,
Looks like
you
check
guys?
go.
Very nice.
No comments.
No comments. Any comments from the public? I'm seeing none. Is there a motion?
Okay, I'll move to approve the CEQA initial study and direct that it be circulated, and 2, set a public hearing for the February 5th, 2020 district board meeting at 6 p.m. or shortly thereafter on CEQA initial study and negative declaration for the 2019 electric system master plan.
Great.
I'll second that.
Did you like when he's staring at you?
What now? It's been a while.
Can we do roll call,
Thank you.
please?
Director Aguero,
Yes,
Vice President Finn,
Yes.
President Bender.
Yes.
Director Ellis.
Yes.
Director Laliotis.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Number 10, consideration of adopting Resolution 2020-02 to file a notice of completion for the pole replacement project, or pole replacement for SCADA project 2019. You're still here.
Good evening again. Yes, I'm still here. I'll be presenting item 10 also.
Nice.
Some background and history on this project. In 2019, the district needed to replace 40 poles and install 3 new poles prior to doing the work for the SCADA Reliability Improvement Project Phase 5. That's our fiber installation project. So this work had to be completed before we could proceed with the fiber installation. It was deemed that we didn't have the resources in-house to do that work, so we had gone out to bid and we awarded a construction contract to TW Powerline Construction at the June 5th, 2019 board meeting. And the original bid price on that project was just under $620,000. Along with that, there was a 10% change order authorization, which is about $62,000, with a total authorization not to exceed $680,000. Fortunately, this project is complete. In October, district staff did complete a walkthrough, made sure that all the punch list items were completed, and the project is done. During the course of construction, there were 5 change orders that were issued to address the following situations. We had some riser conduit modifications and rebuilds that weren't in the original scope of work. There was a delay of work due to district operations, and that was associated with switching that we performed for red flag days. So they had to stand down their crews. We had installation and removal of temporary facilities, and we did that work to keep customers in service more than they would have been if we hadn't put those temporary facilities in. We reconfigured facilities. There was installation of equipment that wasn't included in the original scope, and then there were some unforeseen subsurface conditions. And the negotiated amount of the change orders was about $166,000. So after we completed the walkthrough, district staff reconciled the bid versus actual quantities for the work performed. And the cost for the work at the reconciliation was about $555,000. And as we approached closeout, it became very clear that the contractor and the district held different opinions of contract interpretation. So due to these differences, district council and the general manager negotiated a black box settlement to come to a final contract amount of $720,597. And like I said, that final contract amount was due to differences in contract interpretation. Unfortunately, the final contract amount does exceed the original authorization by just over $40,000. And so we are requesting additional authorization of that amount so we can close out the project contract. And sufficient funds do exist within the electric general fund. At this time, staff is making a recommendation to adopt Resolution 2020-02 for the completion of the pole replacement for SCADA Project 2019 and authorize staff to file a notice of completion, and to authorize a $40,320 increase in the change order allowance for a total not to exceed contract amount of $720,597. And at this time, I would be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Tony, you got any thoughts on this?
Yes, public first.
You want the public first? I'd like to do it at the end. I don't know. Is there any public input? No? Tony?
I don't have any comments. It seems like a pretty straightforward process. The staff, the negotiations seem to be that we're paying based on the bid quantities plus the change orders. And that's pretty straightforward to me, so.
Bob?
Yeah, I'm glad we were able to get that taken care of with the contractor, and so I'm glad we could put this behind us.
Exactly.
Joe, any other thoughts?
Yeah, I was wondering what kind of a interpretation we had, what kind of problems we had there. Is one in Spanish and one in English, or what? I mean, the contract read the way the contract read, and then we had a couple of change orders, so, and there was still a difference of $40,000. So the interpretation was
The
what?
difference was way more than $40,000.
Well, it said
Steve,
$160,000.
would you like to characterize that difference?
The difference in interpretation was the contractor asserted the position that the contract was a fixed-price contract as opposed to being paid for actual quantities installed. Okay? So that was the crux of the dispute. And at the end of the day, as Sana pointed out, we had a black box settlement, which means that, we came to an agreement to resolve our differences and not continue to have different positions and remain at odds. Okay?
Well, the difference was that we paid.
We
Okay.
paid a little bit more than we originally anticipated, and they received substantially less than they hoped for.
But when they bid on the thing, they knew how many poles they were gonna put in, and they must have had a fixed bid. No?
Well, that's where the difference of opinion takes
That's what I
place.
mean. They didn't think it was a fixed bid?
They thought it was, and it isn't exactly fixed, Joe, because even though it sounds like it might be straightforward, we're going to reset a number of poles. Each pole has a different site condition that may require a different level of effort to replace, and therefore a different level of compensation.
Yeah.
And so, the contractor believed that it was entitled to a fixed price, and we said, no, it's based on the actual quantities installed and the effort required to do that.
And then he had more change orders at the end, because it came out to 165, right, Michael?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Motion?
I'll move staff's recommendation.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Bob beat you. Yeah. Shauna, roll call, please.
Thank you, Director Aguirre.
Yes.
Vice President Finn.
Yes.
President Bender.
Yes.
Director Ellis.
Yes.
Director Laliotis.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so now on to routine business. We have a treasurer's report, approval of the treasurer's report of fund balances as of the month ended November 2020.
Did you send them out again?
Is there any public comment on that? Nope. Is there,
I don't know. Did you?
all in favor of the treasurer's report, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? It passes. Joe, do you want to pay the bills?
Yeah, let's move to pay the bills, so we can stay in business, even if they're already paid.
All right, is there a second to pay the bills?
I'll second it.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Okay, and then there's some minutes back in here. Where I'm scrolling to them. Meeting minutes for December 4th, 2019. Looking pretty good.
There were a couple minor issues that Shauna and I discussed, and she has made those changes
Oh, okay.
to the record, so.
Got it.
So with that, I'll move approval of the minutes.
I'll
December
second it.
4th, 2019.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. And let me go back to the agenda.
Now the fun part.
There is some closed session tonight. Item 13, closed session to pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6, conference with labor negotiators. Brian Wright, Assistant Water Utility Director. Joe Horvath, Electric Utility Director. Michael D. Holly, General Manager for the unrepresented employees. Item 14, closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 54957, Public Employee Performance Evaluation, General Manager's Performance Plan Review. With that, we'll go into closed session. Thank you.
All right.